Joining me now is Richard Goldberg, former director for countering Iranian weapons of mass destruction at the National Security Council under President Trump. Thanks for being here. What do you think? What do you make of the National Security Advisor's comments and the general comments coming out of the White House at this point?
Well, Jason, we're seeing tonight already this pause, this 24-hour delay in a deal we thought was going to happen. Families waiting with bated breath by their phones to see if they get the call, a Hunger Games type psychological warfare, to see if their loved ones are coming home tomorrow. And now they find out the rug's been pulled out of them. It'll be another day delay. So these are all psychological warfare games, an extension of the horror show that started on October 7th. Nobody should be trying to deliver press releases and victory laps right now. We should remain very focused and understanding of who Hamas is, what this evil is that continues to play out in front of us, and make sure we have Israel's back to restart operations and destroy Hamas when this is over.
Yeah, but it does sound, Richard, like the White House was very encouraging and very supportive and probably very involved in this hostage negotiation. And it's, you know, hey, if you're going to be able to bring any of those hostages home, if you're one of those families, you want it to be your loved ones. So trying to find that proper balance, that's a tough call.
Well, absolutely. But I do think the administration has gotten this wrong from the very beginning. Who started this hostage negotiation? It was one of Hamas's chief sponsors that host them, the Qataris in Doha, where Hamas still has an office. Their leaders are still negotiating right now at this hour on this hostage deal. We should have been putting pressure on Qatar from day one. We still should be putting pressure on Qatar to say, close down your sponsorship of Hamas and deliver all of the hostages unconditionally. Let's remember what's going to happen in this deal. Children and women are going to be taken away from fathers. The families will be divided. Think of all the families that won't get any loved ones when this is over. And think of, again, all the dead, the 1,200 people who will never come home because they've already been mass murdered by Hamas. So understand, this is not a time for victory laps. It's great to see people come home. Every life saved is valued. That's why Israel is doing this deal. But let's remain very focused on who Hamas is, who their sponsors are, what their game is in this negotiation, and make sure we don't allow this to become a permanent ceasefire. Make sure we have Israel's back to finish the job.
So, Richard, we know a bit about the hostages that were just taken. I mean, they were literally just came across the border, took them, and used them as human shields in a place of negotiation. But in this swap, a 3-to-1 swap, they would be releasing, Israel would be releasing prisoners. Tell us about the makeup of these prisoners that would be going back over to the Palestinian side of the equation.
Well, that's right. Not just this operational pause by the Israelis that we've talked about as far as the ceasefire, but also the release at a 3-to-1 ratio of people who are in Israeli jails because they were convicted of committing terror-related crimes. These are people who tried to kill Jews in Israel, whether by knife attack, explosives, smuggling for terrorists, plotting attacks. They did not commit those, thankfully, casualty-causing terrorist attacks in the end. They were caught beforehand or in the process. And so what the Israelis say is these people don't have blood on their hands, as they say in Israel. Those are the ones that are going to be on a list to be released in exchange for the hostages. But remember, these are going to be people who are involved in terrorism, going right back into the West Bank, going into East Jerusalem, free to rejoin the battlefield. So Israel is paying a high price for this, but they're doing so out of a humanitarian wish to get their people home, because in the end, Israel values life, their enemies value death.
Richard, thank you for your perspective. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. We do appreciate it.